Okay. All right. Hi, Amanda. Thank you for joining me. So I'd love to hear a little bit about, if you want to just introduce yourself, but also what drew you to the Mothering Oneself Mindfully program?
So Amanda Green, I'm a person. I don't really know what to introduce myself on.
You're a mom.
I'm a mom. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I am 5 weeks from having another daughter. So I originally was drawn to the Mothering Oneself Mindfully because I worked with you on a couple of other things through corporate initiatives and personally, and I found the stuff that we had done on a smaller scale really helpful. So then when you offered the course, it was really interesting. But the concept of like mothering oneself was definitely an attractive feature and something that I was interested in trying. Have a complicated relationship with my mom. Didn't really have like good maternal role models. So kind of looking to fill a little bit of that void, but kind of similarly to the idea of like looking inward for happiness rather than relying on other people to be happy. Kind of that idea drew me towards the program of learning maybe some strategies or some ways of thinking and giving myself some time to reflect, to be there for myself where other people in my life just weren't there and aren't there for me, so that I don't know, feel like a more whole person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what was your biggest takeaway from the Mothering Oneself Mindfully program?
So the biggest takeaway is probably the community in general. So learning more about these other women and realizing that nothing is normal, but we're all kind of in it together and going through the same thing, even though we're going through different things, was kind of comforting and relieving. And it just helps to bring some things into perspective sometimes. So I think the community and getting to know these people, and then continuing to get to know them. I've continued with other aspects of the program and seen the same folks, the same faces over and over. And so it just kind of brings a nice familiarity to it as well. It's like kind of like forming some friendships, which are hard to do when you're an adult.
Yeah. And as you said, I love that you said, it's like the bonding over the not normal. It's like that we've created a new normal of just like life is what it is.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So if you were speaking to someone who's joining, what would you say to them if they are kind of on the fence or contemplating the program?
I would say it's worth it. You should definitely consider it. There's never feels like there's any time in your life to do anything, but I think, at least for me, signing up to kind of be a participant in something like this is a way that kind of forces me into doing something for myself that I otherwise would neglect to do in my own free time. So I think even though it's not that much of a time commitment, it's really sparse, honestly, and it's how much you want to put into it. So like with the modules and things like that, it's really about how much time you have to sit and watch a couple of videos here and there. But at least going to the live sessions is really helpful and really nice. But I know, for me, these are things that I wanted to pursue to improve myself that I wouldn't have done if I was just relying on myself. So if you need kind of that external motivation, this is a great way to get it. I'm really thankful for it. I've learned a few different tools, and it definitely helps me to practice my mindset around things. My kid still frustrates me on a daily basis, but I also am able to take some time and to myself and to not, flip my lid all the time either. So there are definitely some benefits, but it is a process. You have to keep practicing. So
I wish at some stage we could just have like kid inserts into their brain or something, or we could just like change our kids. Does this program offer like a kid swap on a daily basis? I'll give this one back just for a few hours.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, is there anything else that's worth sharing, or anything that comes to mind when you think of the program or the community?
Nothing specifically, but just a general sense of being really thankful that I took the dive and did the program, and that I've also continued with some of the other offerings post mothering and self-mindfully aspect. So yeah, I think I feel like I'm in a better place than if I didn't engage in this. And I know I still have a lot of work to do, but that's part of it, is realizing what it is you want to work on.
Yeah. That's such a cool point of thinking about, like, where would you, we would never know, right? But where would we be if we didn't sign up for these things, right? We'd probably just be maybe still stuck, or maybe we would have found a different program or a different resource or something. But I often think about that in my own life, like, where would I be if I had never, been on that silent retreat or started practicing mindfulness? I almost don't want to go there, because I think it would be a dark place.
If I thought I was impatient now, I don't know where I would be if I wasn't doing some of these things.
Totally. I know in one way that's kind of maybe a little bit hard way to look at it is I think I know where I'd be almost by looking at my mom, right? who struggles, and not that everyone's mom does or your mom does to the extent that mine does, but sometimes I can really see that, it has the potential to go down a darker path, very non-self-aware, very impatient, not well path.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to be that way for my kids, and I don't want to be that way for myself. So this is definitely helpful in keeping my eyes open to my paths forward. For
sure. Well, thank you so much. And I'm so glad you're part of our community.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks.